Oh God, I look like a ghost. Welcome to Ghost Chat with Tim and Joel. Ghost Watch, Ghost Chat, chatting about and watching ghosts.
Tim and Joel ghost you in the ring.
Yeah. Bye.
And they never saw him again. Are we using the same chair? I feel like we have the same chair. This ergonomic mesh style thing.
That is an identical chair. Whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody listens to the podcast anyway. It's all about the video content.
Do you think people are actually listening to us on podcast form?
I can't.
Or are they just watching the video?
I can't see the data anymore, so I couldn't tell you.
The problem is I can see the data, but apparently it's mixed in with the actual Fightful stuff. So every number is skewed.
Everything's good.
Everything is great. By the way, our Discord, which I'll plug in a second, it was brought to our attention that it is the first anniversary. So first of all, if you're part of the Discord and you have been since day one, or even since we started it a year ago, I have one thing to tell you.
Happy anniversary!
We appreciate you. And that is loud and so far in my ears. I love it. Tim, I missed you last week. I had to sit down.
We took a week. What a week for me. Off. What a week. Yeah. 2 weeks for me to take off. All chaos. And then I haven't watched any wrestling until this week. So I really felt like I took the weeks off, and then I came back and all hell is broken loose.
It's true. I had to sit down with Kate Elizabeth and talk about wrestling with her. I had to talk about the MJF thing with her. You know what that's like?
I don't know. Is she? Well, I don't know.
It's actually pretty good. We ended up having some pretty good numbers that week. I missed you.
Fine. Yeah.
It's okay. We got so much to talk about today, friends. We have stuff to catch up on. We have my unfortunate loss last night at NXT In Your House. My back still hurts from a table bump, but we'll talk about that in a second. But for now, you should go over and toss us a thumbs up on the video. If you're watching us after the fact, you can leave a comment, give us your thoughts on the show, or maybe you just want to rant a little bit. Sure, whatever, you go for it. It's just wrestling. And you can subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked. The good news is, Tim, we're over 13,000 subscribers on Fightful Overbooked. We're going to overtake the main Fightful channel in no time. Those 72,000 subscribers will not know what hit them when Overbooked becomes the A show. We're like the Carmelo Hayes of this thing. We are the A champs.
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna do. You can send us your super chats and support us here at Fightful Overbooked because we are the A champs with the B income. So go ahead and support us here at Fightful Overbooked. The $ at the bottom of the screen in the chat here on youtube.com/FightfulOverbooked gets you a chance to send in your super chats and to support us here because we're self-funded. And the Discord, link in the description. We already gave you the anniversary shout out. Tim, how are you feeling?
Wretched. I did the Hot Ones event for the second time last night. So I don't feel good today, Joel.
Saw it. I saw your Instagram stories. I then sent you a message saying, why are you doing this to yourself? And I'm surprised the answer wasn't #content.
Yeah, well, it wasn't. It was just for funsies. And I woke up at 4:45 in the morning and have not slept since.
I don't think you should sleep either. My child kept me up most of the night along with my wife. So there we go.
This wasn't the child.
No, I'm aware. I'm comparing notes here that we were both lacking on the sleep department. But anyway, let's talk about some wrestling. So you and I didn't talk about MJF. Things have drastically changed since last week when Kate and I talked about MJF. And I also sat at 1 a.m. on a news show with Sean Ross Sapp and Rob Wilkins talking about the MJF situation and what we know, what we don't know. People kept asking questions. Is it a work? Is it a shoot? Is it worky, Rudy Tooty, worky shooty?
Worky shooty.
Well, we found out it's both.
Yep.
What are you thinking? How do you feel after Dynamite and the promo that MJF cut? Is this something you're into? Were you before Double or Nothing? Were you like, were you interested in the story? What was in your head with the MJF stuff?
I mean, I was following it. I wasn't particularly interested in the story because, it was interesting. It was clearly stuff was going on, but there wasn't enough detail for me to really care all that much, right? It was there's a flight booked and all that, which is interesting enough. It seemed concerning. I was mostly concerned, they're going to do the Wardlow match, or is it going to hang over this pay-per-view as this one of two good stories told is not going to happen now. And in the end, like, I didn't love the match itself because of it. Like that felt kind of wonky. So like I didn't care so much about it leading into it, but then this promo on Wednesday, now I'm invested. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was delivered extraordinarily well. I read a lot about it before seeing it, so it was hyped up quite a bit for me, which got me nervous because things were, and that, you know, pipe bomb, pipe bomb, pipe bomb, and it shared a few similar beats, but it was delivered in a way that was different enough that it wasn't the same to me. And it seemed very specific to this actual situation, and everything that he said, I was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Like looking at his career and how AEW has evolved, like he deserves like a lot because he's done the best stuff, like, and he continues to do the best stuff. I actually really enjoyed the way they handled it by cutting his mic after the F-bomb and the fire me, and then going to commercial and then not acknowledging it at all. I loved that. I thought that it keeps the mystique there, you know. It doesn't
Yeah.
immediately show me that it's a work. It's a work.
So I'll bring up Kylie's comment saying that wrestling fans love a good soap opera, and
Yeah.
I fully agree.
That's literally the main reason I watch wrestling. It's
Yeah.
it's a toxic masculinity soap opera that I would love to go back to the soap opera bit a bit more. Like,
Yeah.
there's too much. I don't know. Like, I don't. Yeah, the in-ring is great, but I would like it to be accompanied by silly stories.
Are you trying to say there's too much wrestling in your wrestling, Tim?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, so am I. I agree to a certain degree. You know, I mean, listen, you and I sit here and talk about it every week, how we are fans of the storytelling aspect and the way that the stories evolve, not necessarily the way that the matches unfurl. Sometimes there are stories in matches, and that's great. But when you and I sit down and talk, we're mostly talking about the stories within the overarching show.
Yeah.
And so for this MJF promo and the MJF story itself, and so I'll even add to it, like when you and I talk, you typically don't give a shit about like the backstage stuff or like the craziness, but this was one story where it affected the actual writing and the actual workings of the program, that it made a difference. Like it actually changed the way that the show was going to run, if at all. Because like you said, the Wardlow match happened. It was not great.
No,
They
it
just kinda
seemed
got in, got out.
it seemed like they might not have spent the time to work it because they were too busy dealing with MJF trying to pull this power move. And like what happened. There's no new Wardlow music or anything, which like kind of undercut the build for that a little bit to me. I feel like Wardlow got a little bit screwed by this process. The match itself was, you know, it's weird for MJF to then come in and do this promo after getting completely decimated like that. So that I would have liked it to be more of a match. It was more of a match than how I saw people describing it, at least. So with my expectations, I thought it was going to be a short squash. There was at least some like chase to it, so I didn't mind that as much. But I would have liked to have a little bit more back and forth. But overall, it was fine.
So and again, I agree with you with the MJF stuff took away from a lot, that including the Wardlow. Now we got to rebuild Wardlow after building Wardlow, and that kind of sucks.
It really like it deflated him. It was a little bit, that I feel bad for Wardlow and all this, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. So there is an opportunity for him to revitalize himself and become a much bigger star than what they were just starting with. But you know, they did the comedy spot like Mod Mike's talking about with the diamond ring, and then Bryce coming over, but then I got and that was cute. They clearly had some stuff planned going into it, but by and large, if the stories are true, like MJF Max walked in, you know, during the buy-in and walked out afterwards with Pat Buck, who's one of the producers now over at AEW. So like, or I guess
he also like the way he was taking those power bombs after the first one just looked not good, which kind of took me out of it a little bit too. Like he kept taking it like arched, and it really like, I don't know. It wasn't to his usual caliber in terms of like how like the wrestling part of it, because he is very good in the ring, and I didn't feel like he gave it his best. So
And then it felt weird having him come out completely no selling on Wednesday after they did a stretcher job with him.
Yeah.
And I understand that all of a sudden what was this big conversation about whether or not MJF was going to show up or whether or not he was going to do it. Like, why couldn't the conversation have included let's take 2 weeks off so that you can pretend convalesce at home, and then we'll bring you back and we'll move from there? Because he comes out on Wednesday, cuts that promo that everyone gets hung up on, which understandable. It was a very good promo.
Yep.
And it takes away from everything else. Takes away from the Punk and Tanahashi announcement, which they then try to reset.
Yeah, they restated it immediately after. I was like,
but everyone was already like talking about what happened with MJF, and at that point, it was kind of just off the rails. And then we saw it again on Friday. Was a whole other can of worms, which we'll talk about very shortly. But the MJF stuff, just again, it's this weird conundrum where like it's great story, but it's awful for those surrounding him, or for what it's this like vacuum black hole thing where if you're around the MJF story, you're probably not going to be important. So in other words, you can expect the MJF story to become somewhere around the women's block of time on AEW television.
Yeah, like it's going to continue. I don't know what they're going to spin out of this. Like, is TK going to choose a champion? I don't want to see TK become an on-screen personality like Vince McMahon. I don't think he has the same charisma for it. Like, so I don't know. I don't know how they're going to handle it. There's a lot of potential there because Max has just done the best story work in AEW consistently, him and Jericho. So
this popped me. In reality, MJF is in a wheelchair, but in kayfabe he can walk.
Yeah.
He just gets up before each promo, just like, Max, are you doing this backward? He's like, nope. He just walks out. He saunters, does a dance, and just waltzes right out there in front of the crowd. And then when he comes back, actually, you know what? That's most wrestlers, to be honest. They're beat up until the adrenaline hits, and then they're like, yeah, I can go. I'm 12.
Yep, pretty much.
And then they come back, and they're like, please give me the wheelchair. Anyway. Do you want to talk about Punk, or do you want to talk about other stuff from AEW before we talk about this whole ass mess from Friday?
Let's talk about other stuff. We'll get to Punk.
We'll make them simmer on it.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, do you want to talk about more behind the scenes stuff that has effects on the stories? Because
sure.
We were talking about the Thunder Rosa stuff. And supposedly she mentioned not being super duper happy with what's going on with her in AEW. I agree with her. First of all, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of backseating to the AEW World Women's Championship, which is supposed to be the title. Her match with Serena Deeb on at Double or Nothing last week was probably one of, if not the match of the night. And the treatment afterwards was to, sick or not, the treatment of her was just to not even mention her.
Yeah, which is messed up.
Absolutely not.
I have some mixed feelings about it. I don't know that I loved a lot of that match. It got a little bit plotting because they were gassed at times. Not Serena, like Thunder seemed kind of slow down at a couple of points that kind of took me out of it, but it was a very good match. Like, I loved the back and forth with the with all of this submission stuff. They were given time to build it and it wasn't good. And like, part of that is AEW being very bad at telling these women's stories, but it's also like, I don't think that either. We talked about this before, like leading into this, that the build hasn't been good. And I don't necessarily agree that it's because they weren't given the opportunity. Like, there was just, it's falling kind of flat. The delivery wasn't good on any of the promos. Like, Thunder Rosa is there to wrestle, and like when she's allowed to do that, she shines. But there needs to be something to work out some of the gaps. Because like the TBS championship is taking the shine in the women's division because Jade Cargill's stuff is just landing better, in my opinion. Like, I think it's just more compelling.
And also giving her the baddies has completely renewed her character.
Yes.
And going back to the build for Deeb and Rosa, I agree. There was no physicality in terms of matchmaking going into this thing, other than Deeb having a match or a squash, whereas Thunder Rosa wasn't wrestling for whatever reason. And when stuff like that happens, it completely it messes it up because you've got
Yeah.
two good wrestlers not being able to show why their match is going to be good. You do the thing where, the men's championship, you had Hangman on commentary for a Punk match. You had Punk on commentary for a Hangman match. Something like that would have been awesome, but we didn't get that with the women's feud. And I wish that we had, instead of just the back and forth promos that weren't that great.
Exactly. And that's where we can criticize the booking part of it, because like they were given opportunities, but they were strictly limited to promos, and neither one of them are like particularly strong at that. They should have been booked to get more match time, but God forbid we do that, because you only allow one women's match on the show, and it's held up for the Owen Hart tournament, which ended in whatever. Man, I hate these tournaments so much.
The stumpy brackets aren't your thing?
The stumpy brackets suck. The prizes seem meaningless, and they always end up with some gaudy thing at the end. Like now they have these stupid belts they're going to carry around in reference, and they're the King and Queen of Hearts. I hate all of that. I don't care for it. Like it doesn't do anything for my aesthetic. I find it cringy.
It doesn't add to their characters as of right now.
No, exactly, because they're not like, it's the same as the King of the Ring stuff. It doesn't do anything for me other than give them another lame title that just doesn't have any real meaning. Like there's no opportunity to come with it. Just like, yep, we value these wrestlers who we already were, giving all of this attention to.
Are you trying to tell me that you think the Owen Hart belts are the 24/7 championship of AEW? Is that what you're trying to say?
I think they're worse because there's no value to them, right? Like they're just gaudy. One, they're ugly. I hate the way they look.
So hold on, before you do that, and before the chat completely jumps all over you, they're based off of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling titles from Owen's day. So they are made.
Okay,
they are made as a tribute
to him.
You can not like the aesthetic, but I figure the historical aspect is probably important to point out.
The context is good because I don't know a damn thing about Owen Hart, because when he died in 99.
Yeah, he died. May 23rd.
I was 9 years old and I wasn't watching wrestling, so like I don't know anything about Owen Hart. That's fine. Like I would have been okay with they get the titles and then they just keep them on the shelf. Like as a, like I don't think they need to be in the story. I don't think we need to now refer to them for the next 4 weeks. Like that's what I don't really get. Like it doesn't add anything to their characters, like you said. They're not being defended, like they said on commentary multiple times. Like, cool.
So I see in the chat someone's pointing out the Owen Hart belts are the King and Queen of the Ring. Well, first of all, that's fine. And
I also said I don't like that.
Once upon a time, the King of the Ring came with a title shot, or at least some sort of something, whereas this tournament just happened for the sake of tournament. It felt a little masturbatory in the way that it was presented, because there was no reason for it to exist in terms of like the rankings, which AEW make such a big deal out of. I wanted something to actually exist coming out of it, and maybe it will, but like right off the hill, we just kind of said they are the champions. They come out with the belts, they show them off, and then what? They just happen to have won a tournament. What does that mean?
Like I get this is honoring a man who was a good man and a wrestler who died in a terrible way. Like that part I understand. But like, yeah, why not just add some sort of narrative meaning to it other than just like, remember this person? Like, I don't see that. It has no real bearing. And then we do the handoff, and it's very sweet, and there's a cup, and then there's like, she's like, I'll see you next year, wear a hat.
Oh my God. This is it right here. Adam Cole should be given an IWGP World title match at Forbidden Door for winning the tournament. Something as easy as that.
You could have tied this into your Forbidden Door pay-per-view that's coming up, right? Like, in that way, you have contenders, you have matchups where you don't need to really do a story build, because you won a tournament.
And there's a connection to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
Owen had wrestled there. A lot of the footage that they were showing was courtesy of New Japan. There is absolutely a link that you could make. It's not like the strongest one in the world, but you can have Cole go for whatever championship. It could be the heavyweight title. It could be the junior heavyweight title. It could be the US heavyweight championship. Whatever it is, they could have done something with that. What do you do with Britt Baker? You don't really have like a stardom connection with them just yet, but so
New Japan has no women, right? Like it's just men.
New Japan is entirely men, and then Stardom is also owned by the same company that owns New Japan. So
Got it.
they just don't have like that connection, because I think Tokyo Joshi Pro is the main company, main promotion that AEW works with the women. So there you go.
Yeah, and I think I like that would have made a lot more sense to me, right? Because again, it's just coming back to it's the same thing as the women's tag team tournament. Like it didn't matter. Like it doesn't have any stakes. So why should I care?
Graham with the super chat, thank you, says the Owen Hart belts are just the Dynamite Diamond rings. They're dirty props for dirty heels to win with. Also, who is the effing Mark? Is it a new heater? Is it a New Japan guy? Yes, it is Marco Khan. That's going to be the next guy. Mark, not Marco Khan. Mark O'Khan is the guy's name. That's going to be it from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kanemaru is going to be playing him.
So that's what I felt about that. Like it just wasn't. Not for me, because I don't have all this context that all these other people are passionate about. Like it for its sake doesn't do much for me.
Yeah. So the bigger conversation is how to just put more women's title time, or put more women's time on your show, continues to be the criticism that many people deliver to AEW. Because again, if you're doing a show where 15-minute block going into the main event is the only time in which you showcase your women, that's got to stop. And for a while, people were like, "No, they changed it up. It's different." Then they went right back to it, and it's been the same way ever since.
Like they'll mix it up here and there, and then we'll be like, okay, maybe we got to ease the criticism, and then it goes right back to it. Like that's the frustrating part. Like, and then I hear I think they were chanting women's wrestling on one of the shows this week, and I was like, well,
sure, why not?
Yeah, cool. I guess get it out during your 15 minutes.
But also, like, you've got a guy who's looking at the minute by minute all the time and freaking out over what that means. It's okay, Tony Khan, to look beyond the minute by minute and to start pushing the talent that are making a difference with your audience when they come out. It's okay.
I think he's just very kind of scatterbrained, approaching it as like a data analysis approach. Yes. And I don't think that he's fully comprehending I see this all the time in business where people will look at data. They will make decisions based off of it, but they won't understand how it's really derived. So it doesn't they're making inaccurate decisions because they don't really know where it's even coming from. Your women's division does poor numbers because you give it no attention.
That's a big problem.
Or you force people who aren't ready to do deep promo work and rely on that to get everything over. Play to people's strengths.
I agree. Play to people's strengths and just give us the better. Just give us different stuff. Just do it differently. And I get that the irony of Max coming out and cutting promos where he's like, "I'm the number one draw in the demo," and I'm like, well, you're right, but the problem is now your boss is going to fixate on that, whether that's a work or a shoot. It's still out there.
Yeah.
So anyway, it is what it is. Punk wins the world championship at Double or Nothing. 5 days later, tweets out before Rampage, "Hey, got to make an announcement." And there are people in that building in the Toyota Center in Ontario, California, not Ontario, Canada. For some of y'all,
British
thought
people.
that it was here, right? No, there were some people from Ohio and from Puerto Rico who thought it was Ontario, California, or Ontario, Canada. They know who they are. Anyway,
it's just they're bad at naming things. Anyway,
right? Anyway, so they do the show, and there are people in that building who A, did not see that tweet, and B, thought they were getting a CM Punk promo where he announces, "My title will be on the line against Hiroshi Tanahashi," or something. They were expecting something much different than what they got. So it turns out that no, he's not in fact going to challenge for any titles anytime soon, because CM Punk has an injury, presumably foot. We don't know. Nothing's been told. And he is not relinquishing the title, despite Chris Jericho yelling throughout the show, "He's going to give up the title. He's going to relinquish the title." And then he has to go and quote tweet every single media person who has any sort of numbers on their Twitter feeds and be like, "I misspoke. I'm sorry. It's wrong." And that was Jericho messed up everything for everyone. And CM Punk is taking time off to get surgery on something. And then they did let's talk about the CM Punk thing first.
Yeah, I guess we got there. So let's talk about it.
We got there, and then we could talk about what happens next. Thoughts on what's going on with Punk and the injury, thoughts on his title win. Where were you going?
What did you think about the match?
It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay.
Wasn't great. It was a 5.5 hour pay-per-view at that point. I was tired. I was over a lot of things. And I've talked extensively about why a 5.5 hour pay-per-view doesn't work for me, brother. The match was fine. It was Piper versus Hart at WrestleMania 8.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
So I assume that was the I do your finisher, you do my finisher, back and forth, will they, won't they?
Yeah, and like the two baby faces, but people kind of see that one is a piece of shit, but the other one's fine. Like there's a little bit of will they, won't they, and then in the end, everyone's a face and everyone gets along.
Yeah, and the story wasn't that, I don't know, it wasn't that good. Like I didn't, like I don't mind that it's nobody's like the outright bad guy. But the way they were talking was kind of weird, and it wasn't clear if Hangman was going to become like the narrative for me was Hangman is becoming overconfident. So this gives him an easy out to like, I lost the title. It's because I got too confident, too cocky, arrogant. And I let that get the better of me and I lost. So like now he can go right back to being a babyface and did this tweener thing. So like I didn't mind that. What I didn't like was the constant crowd taunting between the both of them. I thought that was kind of sleepy, except for the go to sleep like right. That if it was just that, I think I would have appreciated it a lot more. And the I'll do your finisher, you'll do mine would have been fine if CM Punk didn't screw it up every time.
And if that played into the injury that he had and exacerbated on Friday, okay, I get it. Exacerbated, I guess it was Wednesday when the injury happened, but regardless. So
they said it was Wednesday, and I didn't know when it happened, and I was watching it after I already knew he was injured. So I watched him go down after the second attempt at the buckshot lariat, and it looked like he just busted both of his ankles.
Yeah,
but apparently not. Apparently not. So I have no idea. Like
nobody knows, and all the think pieces are just like, oh, it happened on this move, it happened on this thing, it happened on the stage dive. If it happened on the stage dive, by the way, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm so pissed. But regardless, we don't know how it happened, and it happened, so they have to reset and figure it out. So when Punk wins the match, and again, like I understand from a business standpoint why you're doing that. You have a new TV contract to negotiate, and gone are the days in wrestling, or just in general, gone are the days in media where a new idea or a new push talent or a new concept is what's going to lead your network into successful business. Now everything, look at the movies, everything is a remake. Everything that's pushed today is a remake of an old idea that was huge. But you and I have talked about this. It's all nostalgia. And you've got CM Punk, who is like the ultimate nostalgia act. And please don't take this the wrong way. The guy was gone for 7 years. People spent 7 years saying, when's CM Punk coming back to wrestling? CM Punk is back in wrestling. People are enjoying it. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, he was gone for 7 years. Yeah. People are now reliving the times that CM Punk was on their TV screen 7 years before he came back.
I mean, we're doing that though. We like, this is heavily nostalgic. Like WWE is now very, very nostalgic with all their Legends contracts.
100%. Yes.
They have their Legends night like that. That's thoroughly established. But we also just did the Owen, which is for a wrestler who passed in 1999. Like that, we are still living in nostalgia season, even in AEW. Like, yeah. So the CM Punk stuff makes sense to me.
So they gave him the belt. Like, they gave him the title because they know that they can rely on him as the guy. Well, they thought they could rely on him as the guy to get them more eyes on the product, and therefore a better TV rating, therefore a better TV deal, yada, yada, yada. You can make the link. Whereas it probably doesn't hit the same with a guy like Hangman.
No, and I don't mind this decision. Like I thought they gave Hangman a good out that he didn't have to lose too much face. He had 7 title defenses. He lasted longer than Jericho's initial run. And like I said, they gave him a good narrative excuse for why he lost. So right. I'm okay with them making this decision. I'm happy to see CM Punk get the belt. I was fine with that. It's just a shame what has happened now.
I'm looking forward to when Hangman comes back. I want to know what kind of story they're going to tell with him. I think whatever story they had planned just got thrown down the toilet.
Yeah.
And I see in the chat, like Sasha saying Hangman was a good champ. He was a great champ.
I loved him. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun watching his matches. I had a lot of fun talking about his matches. He really did deliver. And there's opportunity for him to be a champion again. Mm-hmm. It could be sooner than later now because Punk comes out and says, I'm not relinquishing the title, but doesn't actually say that. Chris Jericho yells he's relinquishing the title. And then AEW has to go on promotional duty. And oh my God, I don't know if you watched Rampage.
I did,
in its entirety. You did.
Yep.
I couldn't watch a single match because all I was seeing or hearing was commentary getting messed up over themselves. And then people on the internet being like, what's going on with the title? Did he or didn't he give up the title? And what comes next? They're trying to explain this Moxley interim title thing, and everyone's getting so messed up. We know what it is now. So on Dynamite, they're going to have a battle royal. The winner of the battle royal at the beginning of Dynamite will face Jon Moxley at the end of Dynamite. That person will go on to Forbidden Door to face the winner of Hiroki Goto and Hiroshi Tanahashi, who will be facing each other at New Japan Dominion pay-per-view, which is, I think, next week. So the winner of Goto.
Okay, so
Tanahashi,
I didn't know the New Japan part of it.
They just added that yesterday.
Oh
they clarified it in a press release. So it's going to be the winner of Goto and Tanahashi versus the winner of Moxley versus TBD. They're going to have a match at Forbidden Door for the interim AEW title. Now, what sucks about that is the way that AEW treats their interim titles, in that the interim titles don't really exist in the lineage of AEW World Championships.
That sucks. I don't like that. Yeah, like I'm fine with the concept of interim championship, like because 1, they've done it before. 2, it's how the UFC handles things. 3, it allows you to do interesting things like set up a guaranteed rematch, which again is just like, it is good to have narratively reasonable matches in the future where you don't have to do deep story work, because you can't do deep story work for every single match. Like that is fine. So I don't mind that being a thing, because then, at some point you can just put together a dream match and they don't need to be blood enemies. So, but I don't like that they don't credit whoever gets the title. That doesn't make any sense to me.
A little nuts. Like they'll mention interim title on the TV or whatever it is, but like if there's an official record books for AEW, and I use that in air quotes for the audio listeners, it probably won't be brought up as a legitimate title.
Okay, so that it's a shame, but it also, as I'm thinking about it, I don't give a crap. Because the narrative is in my own head, how much I and if someone was an interim champ, they're a champ in my mind. So it's all that matters to me.
So clearly the Punk injury derailed a ton of plans.
Yeah, I would say so. They had the whole thing. They had the FTR thing, which again, Punk tripped on the ropes during that match. He just loves doing stuff on the ropes he can't do.
It's just strange, but Punk goes down with injury. They're going to do this interim championship thing. I don't mind that they're making the final at Forbidden Door. It works. I think it's very random to have Goto and Tanahashi do the match.
I thought it was still Tanahashi. I thought it was just going to be him. Why is he getting screwed? Poor guy.
I thought the Tanahashi match was just off while they figure out who the champion was, or that the champion would be whoever wins at Dynamite, but then they changed it, or not changed it, but then they corrected it as the champion will be announced or will be crowned at Forbidden Door. Sure, that's fine. I just laugh at the idea that Tanahashi's just sitting there just being like, just get your shit together. And then Tony Khan's just like, all right, I'll get my shit together. You're going to compete for the title that you are not a part of our organization in. It's like, all right.
That's the worst part of all this is okay, these titles aren't going to change hands at this pay-per-view. So I don't really care.
Well, that's the thing.
The stakes aren't there.
We're not going to crown new champions. So we may as well crown a champion.
Yeah.
And this is the and that's the pull. So you got Mox is somehow number 1 of the rankings. Tony Khan took to Twitter, as he always does, to explain himself, because earlier in the week, or maybe earlier in the day, they released the rankings, and Moxley was not first. And then suddenly, by the end of Rampage, they re-released the rankings, and guess who was number 1? It's fun. We're having fun here, folks. And then they're doing the Battle Royal. Who the hell wins this Battle Royal, Tim? Who's in?
I don't know. I do like this. I like the chaos of it, because it gives you a ton of opportunities to elevate someone, right?
Tom Talks Rubbish says Big Love. Maybe that is he trying to say Powerhouse Hobbs, Keith Lee. Are you trying to say Luchasaurus is going to win this? Thank you for the super chat.
Do we know who's in it yet? No, right?
No, but presumably everyone who's on the active roster.
That's too many people.
It's not enough people. It's going to be the first hour of the show, damn it.
Oh, man. That would be exciting. I'm fine with that, too. Do a Royal Rumble. Just do one.
If they had done a casino style, I think that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Because that's their gimmick. It would have been a good show. Honestly, I wouldn't mind. I see people throwing out like Jay Lethal, Adam Cole, Hangman, Angelico. Yes,
Is he still?
he's
It
still
was
working.
it was just the other one.
Jack Evans,
Jack
who is
Evans,
now
thank you.
actually going to be part of the Impact Ultimate X match at Slammiversary, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I think Danielson's going to win.
I think
the
so
Battle
too.
Royal.
And I think that's a reasonable, then you set up a little dream match. It's fun. You get to watch Danielson versus Mox. It's compatible with who their characters are within the Blackpool Combat Club because they just loves to fight, like that's it.
That's the Friday night guys.
They'll get real bloody. Yeah. They'll get real bloody. They'll shake hands. Whoever wins will go on, presumably Danielson in my mind, because I actually think I would prefer whoever wins this Battle Royal to win rather than Mox.
I have a very important question on the back of this. Who wins between the Blackpool Combat Club, or the Blackpool Country Club as we call them here, and the Brawlin' Brutes in WWE? Who wins between Mox, Danielson, and Yuta?
The Brutes, they're bigger. They're just bigger. They are much bigger than all of them. It's no question.
Commenters, I need to know who wins. Is it the Brutes or is it the BCC? Because that is an important question that we need answered. That's what it is.
Throw that up on Twitter. Rustle some jimmies, Joel.
Oh my God, I'm going to rustle all the jimmies. Remind me after the show.
Yeah.
I would love to see BCC face off because, like you said, they just want to fight and there's a respect there, but it's not like it's just a match.
Yeah, you can do it, and it's not the death of the faction. You can get right back to blood and guts after that. So
yeah, exactly. You can get back to blood and guts. Here's the other
problem. No, that screws that up actually.
Well, yeah, because but you crown the interim champion, and then you have Chris Jericho come out and say, if the AEW champion
give me that.
Pinned,
I'm a sports entertainer. Give me that. Yeah.
Because if the AEW champion gets pinned in blood and guts, then I win the title.
Are they going to give it to the JAS? Or are they going to 50-50 it?
I think they should all share the world title.
No.
Jake Hager, 1/5 of the AEW World Heavyweight Champions. Angelo Parker, AEW World Champion.
Oh man.
No, but actually,
so
Anarchy in the Arena was actually a lot of fun, a lot better than any of us expected it to be. But I will go back to this. Jericho was the other person that I had as winning the match, having the match with Tanahashi. That could work for me, or even just Jericho versus Goto.
Especially even for a short run, just the appreciate me is so funny. Like I like that dig.
Listen, man, it's silly, but it's so much fun. I rarely give Jericho his flowers like this, but when he's doing the character so well, it's great.
He's a wizard.
And I could see Jericho
who burns a man.
It was good stuff. I could see Jericho being the guy who wins the title at this point.
Yeah.
And then they all share the world championship. They all say that they're the world champion.
Just give them 4 replica belts.
Oh God, they're all walking out with Kangol hats and world titles.
Oh, abysmal. That's fun though. I would love
Chris
that.
Jericho, I know you're watching because you take everyone else's ideas. That's the play right there. You win that title, you get yourself a Kangol hat, and you get the replicas, and everybody gets a title. Everybody gets one. I live for manifesting the most ridiculous shit.
This would be excellent. I'm fine with all of this.
I think we just cracked the code. And then, of course, Jericho versus Punk would actually be a pretty good match.
Yeah, probably.
With Punk winning. Punk would have to go over.
Oh, right? He has to win. Don't let Jericho win that.
Could you imagine Jericho beating Punk for the interim title match? Oh, God, that'd be just bonkers. I love it. What do we want to talk about?
Nostalgia.
Jericho. Let's talk about Jericho for the next 20 minutes.
Oh,
it's Jericho with the do-rag. Let's do it.
The boy band outfits were so perfect. Like, honestly,
really
it's frustrating because he's such a jackass, but he's so good at this. Like, it's very fun. Like, him and MJF are the ones telling clear, coherent stories right now that are very fun to me. Like, I'm having fun with their stuff.
And again, like, that's not to say that people can't enjoy anything else going on in the world.
Enjoy what you enjoy. I'm just saying what I like. Like,
yeah, exactly. And that's what we're all about here. Like, we're talking about the stuff that we enjoy, or the stuff that we want to clown on, or the stuff that we think can be better. There is a premium live event tonight. We can talk about that, or we can talk about last night's In Your House real quick.
That's tonight.
It's tonight. Most people had that reaction last night to the show that happened. That's tonight.
Also that.
NXT In Your House was I called it an easy watch. I thought it was fine. The show didn't go too long. It was about 2 hours 45 minutes. You can go watch the tag match. Go watch the Creed match.
Seemed like a long episode of NXT. Like,
yeah, that's what it is. Go watch the Creed's match. Them versus Pretty Deadly. That was a good match.
In their nicest yellow jumpsuits. I thought that it was a very pastel affair.
So I was under the impression until they took off the sweaters. I thought that it didn't have the Diamond Mine logo on it and that they were foreshadowing that they were they had new neon tights and like they're foreshadowing they're going to get kicked out. Clearly not the case because they put a giant Diamond Mine logo on the front. Fine by me.
Dispelled that immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, let's not press send on this tweet. And it was fine. The match was really good. I love that a lot of people got freaking over the moon for a shooting star press. And I'm like, okay, someone busted
a lot of people doing it these days. I guess they're not as meaty though. Like, he's slightly meatier than your average shooting star press guy. So
yeah, it's true. I wanted the bigger one to do it.
Yeah, Brutus. It's not Lesnar again. Like the bigger. I assume Brutus.
I think Brutus is the bigger one.
Brutus would be the bigger one if Vince is naming him. Brutus is the chunky guy.
Like, yeah. Anyway, good match. Go see it. Go out of your way. It's a good one. What else was in this show? They did the women's championship match, Mandy Rose against Wendy Chu. It was actually quite fun. I enjoyed it.
Had its moments.
Probably one of the better defenses for Mandy Rose.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. The roster seems thin now. Like it's like who's taking the place there.
Yeah, and what else went on? Carmelo Hayes versus Cameron Grimes. Go watch that match. That was great.
Very good because like it is what it is. I'm disappointed. I hope they move Cameron up or something. Like I am disappointed that he didn't really have a run with this title, but it's fine. It makes sense to put it on Carmelo. I'm not saying it's like an incorrect decision. I just think that Cameron needs to move up, move on, do something. Have him be part of Max Dupree's mod. Like just be this weird, like what this.
Wait a minute. Did you and I talk about this once?
No, never.
What did I talk about? I talked about this with somebody already. I said Cameron Grimes should join or should try to join Max Dupree.
Yeah, have
Max. But Max keeps saying, "No, you're not good looking enough.
You're not a model. Like you're not handsome."
He's got to face. He's got to face Mason Mansoor, who are the two first guys to join the Maximum Male Model Agency. Which, by the way, funny. Max, Mace, Mansoor, Cameron Grimes. So that's the whole point of it, is they have to add the guy who's not an M name.
And he's just there like an annoying, like have him just be annoying.
Yes, exactly. To the moon. I'll pay you to join your agency because agencies get paid to bring in their talent. Either way, I agree with you. It'll be fun. But the call up for Monday is probably going to be Casey Catanzaro and what's her face.
Yeah, I mean, they need women's tag teams, right, to do something.
Yeah, that's a weird one. People are strange on the internet. So it's going to be Casey Squared showing up on Raw. Have fun with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It is what it is. They got their entrance dialed in. The match was on their part pretty decent. So
exactly. Let's talk about the premium live event. Let's talk about Hell in a Cell.
I don't even know. There's Omos and MVP.
I got you.
It's Omos. Okay, yeah, you fill it out because I don't know what the hell is even going on anymore. I didn't even realize Randy Orton was hurt. I thought Riddle got hurt, so I'm very confused.
No. It's Randy so that they can have Riddle stand on his own for a bit, which honestly is working.
It's working. That I know.
I'm actually enjoying, especially after this past SmackDown. I'm enjoying that they're giving Riddle a bit more of an edge. They're not just making him random stoner dude. They're actually giving him something that like makes you want to root for him as more than just adorable stoner kid.
Yes. Yeah.
And that works for me. The match has one SmackDown match, by the way. Everything else is a Raw match. We can talk about that.
I thought there were no SmackDown matches, so the one is a surprise.
They added one on SmackDown.
Title?
No.
Ronda?
No, God forbid. No.
Oh,
let's get into it. It's going to be Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Liv Morgan, aka Bulliv Club, as everyone's calling them. Taking on the Judgment Day.
That's low effort.
I know. The Judgment Day. That's Edge,
Also
Damian
true.
Priest, and Rhea Ripley. Judgment Day has to get the win here. They do. Does somebody turn?
I mean, Finn Balor's in the match. He's gonna lose.
Well, Finn Balor's gonna get pinned, but does
and
Balor?
Liv, man, it's just there's no way.
Does Balor defect and join the Judgment Day?
Sure. Give him something to do.
That's the one I would do.
Yeah, I'd do that.
Why not? Yeah, it'll be good.
He's a better fit, I think. Well, I know he's Bullet Club, but he would look okay in there. Give him some purple.
Give him some purple. Give him in the purple gear. I'm sure everyone will love it.
Or the blued, sorry. Keep forgetting. It's a bluish purple.
It's blurple. Ezekiel takes on Kevin Owens. That's the match where I'm like least certain on who's gonna win.
Is there a stipulation to that?
No, but I think Zeke's gonna win.
Yeah, I think Zeke should win. Again, Kevin Owens like never really is hampered by a loss. Like he's just too good. Can't keep him down.
KO's whole thing is like he's slowly going crazy.
Yeah.
I think a loss to Ezekiel would absolutely just make him go bonkers.
Love it. Really would
that.
enjoy that. Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby Lashley takes on Omos and MVP. I think that one is that in Hell in a Cell. I think
it's in the cell and it's a handicap match. God, these cell matches are crap now.
And I think Cedric Alexander got added to it this past Monday.
What is happening?
Well, the MVP likes Cedric Alexander from his hurt business days.
Did he? So, he kicked him out.
Yeah, well, Bobby Lashley didn't want him, so here we are. Money talks. So we got Omos MVP.
Bobby Lashley, who betrayed MVP somehow,
as one does.
It's just a handicap. Thank God. Okay.
Is it? I thought it was in the cell.
It was unclear. There was cell. Anyway, I don't
should have been in the cell. So there's only one Hell in a Cell match, which actually I'm fine with in that case.
Sure. And that's the Seth and Cody, for sure.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. Yeah. So Lashley, Omos, and MVP. Who won the last one? It was Omos won after Lashley beat him at WrestleMania. So this is the rubber match.
Yeah.
The match has become more about Lashley and MVP than it has about Omos. So what do? Does MVP pin Bobby Lashley to make Omos look stronger somehow? I honestly think that's what it's going to be. It's going to end with Omos beating the shit out of Lashley, like in the final minute or whatever, and then MVP tags in, or Omos, MVP's like, tag me in, and then he hits either the playmaker or just gets the pin and pins Bobby Lashley. Gotta be it.
Sure. I don't, man. I'm just trying to, they live and die by moment making, and I just don't know what the moments, I guess the moment from the last episode of Raw was the fight in the crowd.
It was Memorial Day. That was the moment. It was congratulations. You made it through a 3-hour throwaway show.
Oh, man.
It was not a good episode of Raw for me, at least. I definitely looked up and I was like, 11 o'clock already. That's great. You ended with this segment. Anyway. Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin got added on Friday. It is
they've already done this,
but it's no holds barred this time.
I don't care. Cool. Then I can expect a bunch of kendo sticks to come out.
Did you see how Madcap looked?
No, I didn't. Does he look badass?
He looks badass. I'm gonna pull up a photo. But
how did they alter him? Yes, love it.
I
swear to God, if you pull up that photo where he's upside down, I'm just gonna smack you.
I should have done it. Where is this one? You gotta give me a second.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay. Are the suspenders still there? I'm just gonna do 20 questions about this.
No, they are not.
Oh, is he still in tight little shorts?
Yes, but they're not shorts. He's got tights now.
Oh, boo!
What? What's wrong with that?
Tights are boring. Shorts are cool.
I guess it's fine. But I gotta find the stupid photo now. This is very frustrating for me.
Ace, you know who I liked with kendo sticks? Steve Blackman. He was fun with kendo sticks. I missed those days.
He beat people up with all sorts of shit.
Yeah, exactly. He was just a hardcore guy. So I don't mind a sprinkling of kendo sticks. I don't like that they're literally all we ever see anymore because chair shots are taboo now. So
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna upload it now. We're going to get it. We're going to see it. You're going to love it. Everyone's going to be happy again.
Does he have new music?
Yes.
Is it more boring music that is being pumped out? Ooh, never mind. Disregard my previous criticisms. This looks pretty good.
Yeah, this is the guy now.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Way different from this guy.
It's such a low res photo. And it shows up so much.
Yeah, we use it a lot here. It's great.
Yeah.
Listen, that is what's going to make the match fun, in my opinion, is the
His
fact that
new
they
black
changed
trunks.
his new black trunks, exactly. And even Corbin's a little less happy now. He's just, it's gonna hopefully be a fight a little bit more edgy. So
You know what? Like, yeah, I'm skeptical about it, but I honestly I like Corbin. He always seems to deliver. Like, I keep enjoying that. And same with Madcap. He just keeps continuing to put on like really great matches out of nowhere that shouldn't be that good. So
that's how you do it. Yeah, just hit him in the head with a chair.
Yeah, do it.
No, anyway,
you coward.
Let's move on. Theory versus Mustafa Ali for the United States Championship. They added that match on Monday
After a chaotic Monday of Mustafa Theory nonsense.
Exactly. And they're in Mustafa's hometown of Chicago. People are just like, yeah, well, they never have people win in their hometowns anymore. Well, let's go back to Raw, Knoxville, Tennessee, where Bianca Belair beat Sonya Deville for the
after getting humiliated the year before.
Yeah, well, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is here, who knows who's going to win? Do you think Mustafa wins, or is it going to be Austin Theory, or just Theory?
Like, here's the thing: what wins out more? The fact that Mustafa was so frustrated and they had to presumably concede something, or the fact that Vince seems to have taken such an actual shine to Theory that he's being like ordained here. So, like, I don't know which way's heavier. Did Mustafa negotiate something, or did Austin Theory, is Austin Theory just the guy and we're just waiting to watch him continue to ascend?
I think Theory's the guy. I don't think Ali was like, hey, Vince, give me a title, brother. I don't think he's that kind of guy.
I don't think so either.
But I can see Theory dropping the title now and going into Money in the Bank, having a good performance, not as a champion, just as a guy in the match, and then not winning, but then having another match for the US title at SummerSlam and winning the title at SummerSlam, where it becomes a bigger deal that he wins because more eyes, blah, blah, blah. It's a bigger show. So
like, I appreciate that there's doubt here. Like, I don't know. It could go either way.
Yeah. And again, that's what I appreciate too. And not everything is quite as obvious to me, because I will give myself other options to where it could go. So who knows? Theory retaining, to honestly, it's most likely. But for those who are just like, oh, he always loses in his hometown. No, they've done a pretty good job of
I wouldn't
doing that lately.
I'm not really factoring that in. I do it like a 60-40, like leaning towards Theory. Like, I don't think it's that cut and dry.
For the Raw Women's Championship, it's Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Becky Lynch. Notable on house shows, they've been doing Bianca, Asuka, Becky, and Alexa Bliss. I think we might be seeing Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, that seems right.
And then put Asuka and Becky in the women's Money in the Bank match.
Yeah, they're hyping her up right now too, right? So
yeah, they're giving her wins. So I would like to see that. But we're all feeling Bianca wins, and it's like Asuka and Becky kind of cost each other the match because they're so enthralled with each other. Okay, I'm fine with that. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
Main event, Hell in a Cell, Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins. Yes, I read it in the chat. They did a whole angle where Cody Rhodes is, quote, injured. No, he's not, because he came out at the end of the match last night where he wasn't in it and he attacked Seth Rollins. Cody is fine. It was an angle at a house show. There is no injury to Cody Rhodes. Cody versus Seth. What do you do? It's the third match between these three. This is the first match that actually has some sort of story in it that's not, welcome back, I'm going to beat you. There's actually some sort of back and forth and some sort of hatred between Cody and Seth.
Yeah.
There's a grudge. What do you like? What do you dislike? How do you feel about the match?
Cody wins. This is the rubber match, and he moves on, and then we can start working towards the belt, right? Keep his journey going so he can keep holding up that photo of his papa.
Does he win Money in the Bank?
I think so, yeah.
Graham saying you heard it here first. Brandy Rhodes is under the ring. Oh, God.
Hey, did you see? She posted a video of her working, and it was adequate.
She comes out from under the ring and says, who told you it was open cell nights?
Oh, no.
Sorry, I had to. I really had to.
Oh, fair. He has won twice, so I don't know why we're doing this.
It's not the rubber match.
I continue to just rewrite the stories to make sense in my mind, but they never do. My God.
Well, the idea. So here, let's give credence to the story. Sorry, I popped myself with that stupid mic. That stupid open mic comments.
Oh man.
The first match was Seth gets caught by surprise because he doesn't know who the guy is, right? And it's Cody, and Cody wins because Seth wasn't ready, quote unquote, not ready. even though he should be always ready, like Matt Cardona, and instead has the rematch at WrestleMania Backlash, WrestleMania rematch, because reasons, because Seth wasn't ready, so he wants to be ready this time, so that's fine. And then this time they made it about the fact that Cody went away and tried to take away money and food from Seth's plate. Therefore, he should atone for his sins by facing him in Hell in a Cell. And he's trying to injure Cody Rhodes actively. That's the best I can do. And I know some people are going to be like, that's stupid. I get it. But like, that's just kind of the way that I've put it in my head as the match.
That's fine. That's good enough. As long as it ends here, for the love of God.
Exactly. Honestly, let it end. Let Cody win and then be put into Money in the Bank, or let it be, I mean, what are they going to do? Put Cody and Seth in Money in the Bank and then they just renew the same hostilities again?
Please, no.
Doesn't make sense.
Like,
Cody's the one that challenged him to Hell in a Cell because he was over Seth's shit. He was like, I'm sick of you coming and interrupting my matches, so now you're going to get me in the cell. Yeah, close enough. It's the best I can do. Either way, it's only one Hell in a Cell match this year, not two, not three, just the one. So at least they're making it a major feud. And this is a very B pay-per-view. And I know people are just like, well, why would you have B pay-per-views when you should be wanting everyone to watch your shows? It's a B pay-per-view. You got Money in the Bank in 3-4 weeks.
There's one thing with this main event that could turn out okay. And it's hard to know because it depends on how much people are allowed to do things in WWE. This match could be very cool because Cody has proven himself to be able to put together some very interesting moments in dangerous moves. So hopefully he has a cool cell spot. I hope so.
I have a very important question for you. Does Cody bleed tonight?
I don't think he's going to bleed, but I'm just really hoping that he came in with a good idea for the cell, because it feels like no one has had one for a while.
I think he's going to try his best the hard way.
Yeah, that I'll believe. If he bleeds, it surely isn't planned. It is. I'm just going to mush my face into. I might actually. Well, and good luck trying to cheese grate your face on that cell because it's pretty well coated now.
the red paint is actually like just anti-cut adhesive,
it's like Teflon.
Exactly. And like Andrew's saying in the chat, like they're always quality in the ring, so you're looking forward to it. And that's the thing. It was the same thing with the last show. People were just like, this show's going to suck, and then it ended up being pretty entertaining because guess what? These wrestlers know how to wrestle. They just don't get good storylines to work with.
At this, I am just intrigued because Cody can put together big, scary spots. He did it a bunch in AEW, and he kept surprising me with that when he had a stipulation in his match. Like that, his resume match on the very last one was insane. So, like, I'm just really, really hoping he's got a good sell idea.
I want to add one thing. There was the reports coming out with like Money in the Bank being moved from Allegiant Stadium to the intimate confines of the MGM Grand Garden Arena. That's never not going to be funny. And the fact that we're still talking about it means that it's working. There was the report that came out, Reigns is no longer listed on the show's poster. I think they're going to do what they did at WrestleMania Backlash, where he's going to be on the show. And I think it's going to be him and Riddle. Despite what people are saying, what's been said by Meltzer, Alvarez, whoever, I had that feeling because after this past Friday on SmackDown, they made it feel like Riddle's going to go after Roman Reigns.
Yeah, if that wasn't the plan before, I don't know. I think maybe this was a test for that, and I think he passed. So,
and we talked about it a few weeks ago. We said it was going to potentially be Riddle at Money in the Bank. A return, well, we didn't know returning at the point, but returning Randy Orton for SummerSlam, that's a money match. And then they want to do September. They kind of pseudo announced, Drew said at Clash of the Castle, he's going to get the championship. He didn't specifically say Roman Reigns. I mean, listen, it's presumably Roman Reigns. We get it, but they did a good job, minus Pat McAfee, of making it just he gets a title shot at Clash at the Castle. That is such a tongue twister of a name for a show.
I know. I don't love it.
I think we got through it. Natty is going to face Ronda Rousey. I told y'all for months that it was going to be her first challenge. I told you. I'm going to rub my beard on the mic. I told you. Tim, where can the kids find you on the internet?
You can find me at Tim Stone P, TIMBSTONEP, Twitter, Instagram.
Fightful Overbooked. We're 13,000 strong, but we could get to 72,000 if you tell your friends about us and subscribe to us here on the channel. Leave us a 5-star review if you're in the audio realm. We appreciate you hanging out with us, putting up with our nonsense chat. You're awesome. Always good to see you. We'll be back again on Sunday for another episode at noon Eastern. I am Actual Pearl, JOELPEARL. Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.